We were at a 4th of July celebration, and the tallest girl is my sister Velmy, and the other one is me. Then the little girl is Violet, and the baby is Ralph, and it was Mary Weininger at the time. That was before she was married again. And we were all still in shock over our daddy's death, her husband's death. And that is taken in the park over from the hotel, and the bicycle track is in the back. You can see part of that. It's torn down now, and it's altogether a different looking place. This is Mabel Weininger Daugherty. Now, Mama of them 15 grandchildren. And she was a teenager at that time, and that flowered coat she had on was the rage of everybody. Everybody had to have a flowered coat, and they wear them yet today sometimes. This is another one of Mama Daugherty's teenage pictures. It's kind of sad looking, but then she was pretty happy at the time. This is another teenage picture of Mama Daugherty, and it was her girlfriend that was with her, Cordy Quinn, and she was about 2 years older, but in school we were good buddies. This is Naoma Moore, Uncle Ellis Moore's wife, second wife, and the middle one is Nori Quinn, and the one that's halfway laying down is Mama Mabel in her teenage. And they were just out traveling around to Jackson Rock or someplace that day, and Ruth Moore took the picture. This is John Daugherty, Papa John, and Mama Mabel before they were married. They only had 2 or 3 dates at that time. It was taken on a Sunday afternoon down by Buck Creek. And John had come all dressed up, and he was going to work on somebody's car that afternoon, so he brought an old pair of overalls with him, and somebody snapped our pictures in it. This is Grandpa Harley Quackenbush, and he was Grandma Mary's daddy. And he had been to the crib and got armload of corn to take to shelf for the chickens. That was part of his job because he was a farmer. He was so good to us after our daddy died. Never was cross to us or anything, tried to make us happy. We loved him very much. The lady sitting down is Mary Weininger, Mary Qualtenbush Weininger Roach. And that is her daddy, Harley Qualtenbush, sitting there by her. And standing in the back is her husband, Paul Roach, which is Mama Mabel Daugherty's stepdad. And the lady standing by him is Laura Qualkenbush. That is Grandpa Qualkenbush, it's Grandpa Harley's third wife. And they were all good friends and having a good time that day. But Grandma Qualkenbush, Mary's mother, had been dead for several years when Grandpa married, second and then third time. This is Marvin Daugherty when he was a little baby, and Louise Roach is on the other side. They're just a few weeks difference in their ages. And Marvin is the one that's the darkest, with the darkest face, because he was dark complected, and Louise was real white. And this was about some of the first pictures that both of them had taken. This is Mama Mabel and Papa John Daugherty, and with son number 1, Marvin, Daugherty. It was taken in Powell Valley. This is Papa John Daugherty with son Marvin. And I got a little bit disgusted because I wanted father and son to have a nice picture taken together, and when I got ready to snap it, he grabbed Joe Walsh's old dog. So that's the story of this picture. This is Marvin Daugherty. He was around 4 years old. And in the big rocking chair there is Vance, and he's a little baby. You can't hardly see him. He has got a little white cap on, and he was lying on a white blanket, light-colored blanket, so it's hard to see him, but he was there. This Marvin in his little red wagon was taken in French Lick, the back of Monon Street, which is Larry Bird Street now. This is little 2-year-old Marvin again, taken at about the same place, and was taken in front of our little house that we lived in. He was a beautiful child. This is 4-year-old Marvin in his little Indian suit that he likes so well, and he loved his tricycle. It was taken in Powell Valley. And that tricycle was partly of what was in the oak tree out here, the running gears of it. Tree's cut down now and gone. This is 2-year-old Marvin as we lived on Monon Street, and we went over to the hotel, Springs Hotel, French Lick, and in the gardens is where this picture was taken. I'm wearing my flapper hat. I think Aunt Almy Kirby gave that to me, and I really did like it. It was flapper time along about then, and I like to wear that hat. This was Marvin when he was about 16 or 18 months old, and we went to visit Ethel and Leo, and just off of Maple Street there, and Ethel took our picture, and I always appreciated it so much. He was so cute at that time, and he still is cute. This is John and 2-year-old Marvin, and it is faded quite a bit, but yet it's daddy and son, and it was taken, well, I'm not sure where. The background doesn't look right, but it might have been Powell Valley. This is a black lady by the name of Mistress Smith. She lived across the road from where we lived there on back of Monon Avenue, and she would come and bring scraps of feed, scraps from the table, to feed Miss Livingood's chickens. That was close to our house. And Marvin was only 2 years old, and one day he kept crying and crying and crying, and she said, "What's the matter with him?" And I told her I didn't know, but I lied, because he was wanting to kiss her. At all time he was wanting to kiss her, and I wouldn't let him kiss her. Marvin, the school picture, he's beginning to grow up a little bit now, and get into a little bit of meanness along, but not so much, but what I could control him real well. Another picture of Marvin, and this is a school picture too, and he's real cute in his bib overalls, and he's grown up now about a year or two, so he's getting to be a big boy now. Marvin's still wearing his bib overalls, but he's grown up a little more now, next year or two. He'll be a big boy one of these days. This picture was taken over on Doc Dillinger's farm when we lived over there. And that first little blonde-haired boy